Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into Vulnhub, designed to sharpen your cybersecurity skills enormously. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Now let's jump in and get started. The machine I'm going to do will be Venus of the Planets series. In this video, I'd like to show you how to use Hydra to conduct brute forcing against the web application. But to be more important, I'd like to show you how to use Python to do the same jobs. So without further ado, let's head over to Linux VM. First of all, we need to discover the IP address of the target. The utility I'd like to use, as always, would be net discover. So let me auto-complete this command. So as you can see over here, the IP address of the target could be recognized as 148. So what do we have to do next? We need to conduct port and surface scanning with a map. Of course, to save time of this video, I've already done that before. So now we can get out its result. Now let's have a look at the options I took to do this scanning. As you can see over here, I used the options like scene scan, the version scan, the default script scan, followed by the -p- to do the full range port scan. The last option of all is ON to output the result into this file. So we can retrieve the map scanning results when necessary, whenever. Although the IP address has been changed as I re-imported the target machine into the VirtualBox. So the IP address has been assigned differently by the internal DHCP server of VirtualBox. So from the map scanning results, we can tell that the target has two open port numbers. The first one is 22, which is running SSH service, and also the version information, open SSH 8.5. I do not think we can find any workable vulnerability for this particular version. And the second one is 8080, which is running HTTP service. So what can we do next? We need to enter the immersion stage, and we need to perform immersion with this web application both manually and automatically. Let's fire up the browser to do the manual immersion first. Of course, before we proceed, I'd like to note down some key discoveries. For example, the IP address of the target is 148. So about the scanning results of a map, the first open port number is 22, which is running SSH service, and second port number is 8080, which is running HTTP service. So now we are in the immersion stage. Let's go back the browser, and we can put the IP address of the target into the address bar of the browser. Port number, press enter. So the proxy server is refusing connection. I should turn off the proxy before I record the video. Sorry about this. So now we can refresh the site, and we are prompted by this user login form. Even the guest, the credentials for guest has been given to us. So later we can, of course, we can use this credential to log in. But before, always guest account has the least privilege. So next, I'd like to try to see whether we can use admin and admin password to log in. Admin and admin. We can click login. However, we got the error, invalid username. So this, from the response of the error response, we can tell two things. The first one, admin user is not existent on the target. Secondly, if we give the not existent or invalid username, we will get such error, invalid username. So I think we can take advantage of this error information to make brute forcing to get valid usernames, okay? And then we can fit some kinds of word list, okay? So now, for now, I just copy the error message and put it to our notebook. All right. So next we can, of course, I'd like to check its source code, and nothing here. Next, I'd like to check whether this side has robots file or not. Not found. So next, I'd like to launch the Nicto to do the automatic enumeration. Nicto can give us rich information sometimes, including the vulnerability of the web application or web server, if it has, or and when it's vulnerable. And also can enumerate out some kinds of directories and files. But it's not the case for this machine. I'd like to tell you, we cannot get anything useful or valuable from the Nicto for this case. So I do not wait it anymore. So next, I'd like to launch the GoBuster to do the directory enumeration. // and port number -W option to specify the word list. I always use this word list in most cases, okay? GoBuster directory, and also I'd like to put the extension option here, PGP text back, press enter. Fantastic. GoBuster has found directory of admin. Of course, we can take a look at this directory. Admin. This is the Django administration. Maybe not a very, new one. Just some kind a bit old Django administrators panel. Here, Django, to some extent, is very secure. It's not vulnerable to SQL injection. Also, the password is always communicated. So now, because of a policy with password, so we can try anyway, admin and admin to log in. So we got the error, server error. So I think from this error, I think the admin directory is not our attack surface, or this admin directory doesn't contain any attack vector, okay? So now we can put it to side for a while. Let's go back to the GoBuster. I don't think we can find anything else beyond this directory by GoBuster. I'd like to interrupt it here. So I think so far the only valuable information what we can exploit further would be this one, the invalid username. And also we can try to, to see whether this user login form is vulnerable to SQL injection vulnerability, right? So how to do? We can enable the proxy or turn on the proxy to the burp. So all traffic will go through the proxy. Next, we can launch one of the famous proxy, web proxy, which is Burp Suite. Okay. Click next, start Burp Suite. Then we can navigate to proxy tab and turn on intercept option. And then we can put anything like a domain and password to trigger a new request login. And the Burp Suite can intercept the request for us. And we can save this request to file. And we can store it into our working directory. Venus, yeah, this one. And we can use any file name like rec text. And I think we can turn off the intercept option. Next, we can pull up the terminal and then launch the SQLMAP to test this user login form to see whether this is vulnerable or not. But I don't think it's vulnerable. So what can we do next? Maybe the only attacking vector for us would be, this response, invalid username. Oh, sorry, I think I forgot to do one more thing. We can use the guest account to log in to see what it's about after we can make successful login. Guest, we need to know how the application is behaving, but not so rich functions here, just some kind of picture. And if you want, you can download it to the Linux for analysis to see whether this picture has a hidden message. But I'd like to tell you, nothing in this picture. Okay, so how to do next? Let me go back the terminal. So we can continue the earlier discovery. Maybe we can utilize this error message to conduct brute forcing to find the valid username. And we can, in this video, I will showcase two approaches. The first approach is by Hydra. Okay, so how to do? Let me, to save the resource of my Linux, I'd like to close up this Burp Suite. And also we can, disable the proxy, and we can clear the cookie. And then we can access this site again, and we are prompted by this login form again, and we can use a domain and the password because I want to get request details login. And then you can go to network tab, and the first request is what I want to have a look at. So the first approach, just I said, would be done by Hydra. So how to do? We can launch Hydra, and we can use the uppercase L to specify the username dictionary. And in this case, I'd like to use one word list specific to username enumeration. And this would be under seclists directory. In order to have this word list, you need to install it. You can use any package manager to install it. If you have the problem with this, please let me know in the comment box below. Okay, so the username and this one text, and we can use normal P to specify the password. In this case, we can use anything as password, like anything, and then we can use the normal S to specify the port number. This case is 880. Next, we need to specify the target, the IP address of the target. Then we need to specify the protocol or service. This case would be post form. Next would be the major part of this command. We need to specify many things. The first one, should be the login page or login, the directory for login function. This case is root, so we just put the slash and use the column to separate the first section of this payload. The second section would be the request payload or the post body. And this always includes or contains the username and password. We can switch this tab to raw, and then we simply copy this request payload, and then we can put in here. And we need to replace the actual username by placeholder. Okay, user. Similarly, we need to replace actual password by placeholder pass. And then we need to specify the error message when we submit this form with invalid username. And then we can, we just copy from notebook and then put over here. Now we can press enter. Hydra is a very powerful brute forcing tools. We can use this Hydra to make brute forcing against so many different types of online services, including HTTP, including SSH, including FTP, and so on and so forth. As you can see, the guest is valid username. Of course, we know that. Maybe it will be better to pause the recording. All right. As you can see over here, Hydra has already found 3 valid usernames. So we can note down such usernames onto our notebook. And the second is Velas. And before we go on, I'd like to interrupt the Hydra because we cannot find any more valid usernames. Before we go on, I'd like to use Python to do the same job or to conduct brute forcing, okay? Because sometimes Python is more useful, okay? So now I've already opened up the editor of PyCharm, and we can right click this directory and new. I want to have a new Python file. You can name it any name like brute usernames, okay? And we need to use one very useful module. This is the third-party module. The requests. We can use requests to deal with web application very efficiently. But before we manually create a request, send a request, I'd like to show you a much more effective way, okay? So this is a very important technique. So how to do? I'd like to go back the browser, and we can right click the first request and copy value and copy as Q. Next, I'd like to convert this Q command to Python with online service Q to Python. Let's open it up, and we can paste in this box. As you can see, immediately the Python code has been created for us. We can copy this code to clipboard, and then without any manually coding, we can paste in here. As you can see, we have already got the complete headers of this request and also the payload of this request, even can send a response. So we need to do some modifications for our job, which is brute forcing. Okay, so this, and I'd like to introduce or import additional modules. The second module I'd like to import is time, because I want to introduce some delay between each request. After all, I do not want to flood the target web location. Okay. Next, I'd like to import data time module. I use this module to calculate elapsed time. Of course, this is just some help message. It's not required. And next module I'd like to import is sys module. So here I want to define the function. We can call it like user name in lam, and we can pass one parameter, user name, and then the column, and we can indent all the following code. Okay, and we need to continue to change the code here. This should be parameter. Okay, user name, and so I think that's all. Then we need to have the if statement. If invalid username is in the response, we can use the in operator. As you know, the in operator is a very special operator with Python. Maybe the other programming language doesn't have such operator, but this one is very efficient way to check whether the string has something. For example, we can check to see response text, and then we can return true. Otherwise, return false. Okay. So I think that's all for this function. Next, I'd like to define the main function. And next, I think we can handle the arguments specified by the user. We can check to see whether user has already specified the word list. So length sys archive is less than 2. It means that the user doesn't specify the word list properly. So we can print out the usage. And the %s, this is the placeholder for string. Also, alternatively, we can use format string, which doesn't matter. So word list, and this placeholder should be the variable of the first item in this list, archive. Okay, you know, the index starts from 0 in Python. And now we can exit the program. Okay, there is some warning, but to make PyCharm happy, I'd like to introduce one more line break. Okay, if the user has already specified the word list properly, and then we can save it to variable word list sys archive. So the second item in this list should be the word list, and this would be the absolute path or relative path of the word list. If you want, also you can use the OS module to check whether this file is existent or if this file exists, but I'm not going to do that in this video. And next, we can open this file word list with read-only mode, and we can save it to the variable f, and then we can, use a for loop to retrieve all lines one by one. Line in read lines method. So of course we need to strip space in front of this line, or after this or the space in the end. So we can use line strip method, and then we can pass it. We can check whether the return value of the username in num function is true. Username in num and username, and then we can print something like found valid. Maybe in this case I'd like to use formatted string. I just want to show you we can use the formatted string as well. Also, you can use this way. Here you can see over here this way, and we can use curly brace as placeholder, and the variable should be username. Okay, and also, of course, I'd like to define the variable start time, and this would be data time module now method. And now we can calculate the current time, data time now method. And then we can print. We can also use formatted string. So elapsed time, and we can use curly brace. So the current time minus start time. Okay. Also, maybe we need to check, or we need to make a check after we completed this for loop to see whether we have already found valid username or failed to find valid username. So we can set another variable flag is false originally if the program can go to this block of the, or if this condition is true, and we can set this variable to true. Okay, true at least once or one time. Okay, and next we can check if not flag, it means that the program doesn't have any chance to enter this block of code, or doesn't find valid username. So we can print something like failed to enumerate username with current word list. Okay, if you want, you can print out the path, oh, not in this one, word list of the file or word list. So I think that's all. Before we finish up this code, we need to run or call the function, main function. Okay, so we can put the name underscore double underscore name on double underscore. This means the name of the program which is being executed. So if is current file, this name variable should be equaling to main, and then the following code would be executed. So now we can press, or maybe I like to introduce one more line breaks, one line break to make PyCharm happy. So also one more line break, and we can save. So now let's run this program and to see whether there is any error with this code. So we can run the Python and bullet. So the name, okay. If you do not specify the word list, you will get the error. So we can use the same word list, share second lists, user names, and let's press enter. Oh, sorry, I'd like to interrupt. Why? Maybe there will be some error, invalid username in response. Oh, sorry, this should be not, not in response. Not in response means the username is valid, okay? So now let's run it again. Yeah, found. Oh, sorry, I think we need to, if you want, you can introduce the delay between requests. For example, we can put the delay between each request. So time, sleep. Okay. Now let's run our program again. As you can see, the first valid username has been found, and very quick, right? So we just let it run because it will take the program to run for a while. We can proceed. Later we can check whether we have already got the same results as Hydra. Okay, so let's go back. So far we have already got a valid username, 2 usernames besides guest. So naturally we can make another brute forcing to look for password for this 2 users. But I like to tell you, this will not work. This will not succeed. And you can use both Python or Hydra to conduct such brute forcing very similarly. Okay, if you have a problem with this, if you want to run this password brute forcing, and if you have a problem, please let me know in the comment box below. Okay, this is not difficult. You just change some options. I think this is not difficult at all. Okay, so now, so how to the next? Maybe we need to make. Just now, I think from the cookie, we know that the cookie has 2 key pairs, and one of them is encoded. So let me go to the storage. Right now, no cookie. However, if you log in with guest, because the guest account use guest password, login, and then this one, this is the encoded by maybe base 64. We can copy, and we can go to the cyberchef or command line to decode. Let me cyberchef. Cyberchef is another Swiss knife for us. Now we can put over here, and base 64. As you can see, we got the output, so we can copy and put over here. So this is a bit interesting. The section or before this column would be the account. So this is the password. However, the password for the guest is guest, not this one. So maybe the password has been changed by some means. Okay, so we need to find this special means. And to that, I'd like to use Burp Suite to make more analysis. So let me go back to the browser, and we can turn on the proxy and launch Burp Suite. Okay. Next, start Boba Suite. All right. And then we can go to Proxy tab. Make sure to turn on Intercept option. And then we can refresh this page. And we can get the request, right? So maybe I can forward. And then we can press again. And we can get the request. So this time I'd like to send this request to repeater module. And then here, as we know, this is the encoded message of this stream. Okay, so how about we change this username to another one? For example, we can copy and paste over here, because we need to find the way how this string is generated. And we can copy and replace here, and we can copy the entire string and go to cyberchef to encode base 64, and then we can copy, and then we can replace the cookie here and send the request. As you can see, we got something different. Set cookie, and the cookie is different. So we can copy this new cookie set by the application or web application. And now we can paste over here, and we need to decode this message. As you can see, this time we got something different. We can copy. So this is the vulnerability of this web application. And we can paste over here. Similarly, we can do the same thing for another user, Valence. So we can copy. Or maybe we can copy here. And change the guest to Valence. And we can copy and encode this string with base 64. And we can get the encoded message and then replace this cookie value, send request, and we can, similar to previous username, we can copy and decode this message, and we can copy and so far we have already got 3 sets of credentials. So next, I think I'd like to try to use these two. The guest is not for Linux in most cases. So we can try to use these two usernames and its corresponding password to log in first. And if it doesn't work, and then maybe just I mentioned before, we need to find maybe the password or this string has been generated by some kinds of algorithm. Okay, so we can copy. You found the second user. Great. So I think it means that our Python program is working well. So we can SSH. We can paste over here IP address of the target. Press enter. And then we can copy this password. Paste from clipboard. But this doesn't work, and try with another user, Valence. Press enter, and the password. Didn't work either. So how to do next? Maybe we can go to the website to find we need to identify the encoding algorithm. So how to do? We can go to the website of the encode detector. And this website I use a lot. So which one? Not this one. Maybe not this one. I like that website. Yeah, this one, Decode. I like it very much. We can open link in new tab, and then we can copy these 3 sets of credentials. We can copy and paste over here and analyze. So possibly the cipher would be lot 13 or rotation 13. And then we can, we can copy this string and go to cyberchef again. And we can select lot 13. And we got the decrypted information or string. And how about this one? We got the values. So next we can try to SSH to the target with the new password. So how about values? This doesn't work either. So how about this one? We can copy from notebook, paste in here. It does work. Fantastic. Next, we can grab the user flag without any difficulty. Next, we need to make a local enumeration to elevate privilege. For example, we can go to home directory and another user, permission denied. Let's go back to this home directory again. So nothing here. Next, we can try to use sudo, and we need to provide the password again. This user may not run sudo on this machine. Next, we can check to see the kernel. Maybe this kernel is vulnerable, or who knows. You can use such as Sprite or the Google to make some research. But anyway, I'm not going to take kernel never exploit. Next, I think it would be better to upload linear shell script to do the automatic enumeration. So how to do? I'd like to open up a new tab. I've already got this script ready, linear shell script. So then we can set up a web server on Kali Linux to upload this script. And we can use wget port number linears. It's done. We can make it executable, and then we can run it to see whether we can find some one vector which can allow us to elevate privilege. Just as I say very often, when we try to elevate privilege or make a lot of movement, we need to rely on the power of this script, because this can conduct enumeration on the target automatically and effectively. If you use the manual way to get or gather information, this will be very time consuming, and you will miss, sometimes will miss some very key information. Okay, it's done. Let's scroll up. A lot of output by this script. Writable log files, modified interesting files. Nothing here. So interesting writable files owned by me or writable by everyone. current shell capabilities. Sometimes we can utilize capability with a specific executable to elevate privilege. I think we do not need to care about SGID bit in most situations. So how about this one? SGID. I think I find this one. POKit. This one is similar to another machine in this series. So maybe we can try to elevate privilege to, by exploiting this one. We can copy, and then you can go to the Google to make some research. And then I think this link of the GitHub, you can get its exploit. And so we can clone this repository from the GitHub. Let me open a new tab. And we can use git clone followed by the address of the repo or repository. And so what do we need to do? So I think we need to upload the entire code or files onto the target. So how to do? Because here is directory. To upload the entire directory to the target, maybe it would be best to compress it. Okay, so how to do? We can use tar and we can call it like a CVE tar. Okay, press enter. It's done. Next, we can upload this file or compressed file to the target. So we can use wget and this should be tar. Oh, sorry, should be CVE tar, and we can get its original directory by run. Okay, it's done. Now we can navigate into this directory, and then we need to make it. It's done, and then a new file has been created. So now we can run it. As you can see, we have already become root user from the hash symbol. Now we can navigate to root directory. So not. And to grab the root flag without any issue. So I think we have already completed this box. Before we finish up, I'd like to go back to the Python program to see whether it has completed. Yeah, it's completed. We get the same results. Okay, so